Welcome to EduNationCast. This is EduNationCast, part of the EdReach network, giving educators a voice, a big voice. You've reached episode number 20 for February 27th, 2012. This is, of course, the show where we demonstrate and highlight the best videos and tools and platforms for teachers all over the nation and the world. And on our show today,
James Sanders,
Adam Bello,
Diane Main, and Cubert.
And I'm Daniel Rezak. There I am. Sorry, I had to finally make myself available. Well, it is the 27th, end of February. We've got a couple of days left. We were going to have a special guest, but we will have him another special time, and that's okay because that's the way we roll. But how's everyone doing? What gives?
Life is good out here. I flew back from Seattle last night, and the snow delayed me, and so they actually upgraded me to first class on the next flight. So it was great.
Very cool.
I love when that happens.
Yeah.
I've been all over this area doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm really tired.
Educator stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portland and Sacramento and Modesto.
I've been buried under my computer for the last 3 days, is putting materials together for the ICE conference. Adam's going to be coming to the ICE conference as well.
I'll be joining you shortly.
Here
Wednesday.
in Illinois. The Illinois Computing Educators Conference, not to be confused with the Indiana Computing Educators Conference.
Or the Iowa.
I don't know if they have that organization there.
I don't know. That's their...
My knowledge of the states. Another one with I. There we go.
Idaho. So last week I couldn't make it to the show because I forgot I had this really nice facilitators dinner. I'm not going to name drop, but I'll talk to you guys after the show about some of the cool people I got to hang with. It was beautiful.
Yeah?
It's all these people that were at ITSC in Portland. It was kicking.
Oh, yeah, Portland. I always hear about the ITSC. What is so cool and different about this conference that...
I'm not sure I totally understand it, except that it seems like it's a sort of slightly more elite level of people attending it, because they are then going to go back and share out what they're getting from it. And so it's from people from all over Oregon. There are other people that come in as well, but a majority of the people there are in a cadre of some kind of these education leaders from all over the state. And it's run by a bunch of really cool people in Oregon, and then they bring in speakers from all over. So, like Bud Hunt was there, and Ira Sokol, and Pam Moran, and just people that aren't from right there in Oregon, or I mean, I'm not that far away in California. But it was just really, really cool. It's very much a hands-on thing. That's the expectation, and you're not going to get too many people that are like,
type of thing,
now sit and get is the exact opposite of what this is. And
cool.
So it's structured in such a way that people are working on things, and you're kind of doing things together. It was the best output of ideas from the people participating that I've seen yet. I learned a lot. We just had a Google Doc going in each session that I did, or workshop that I did, and people were editing it all together at the same time. One of them was like 3 pages of just ideas, one-liner ideas. Really fantastic. So it was very exciting. Plus, we started with an unconference and we ended with a soiree of slides, and it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, I can put a link to some materials about that in the show notes.
That'd be great.
Cool.
It's great when I just love when you come back from a conference and you're inspired, but then not only are you inspired, but you actually have hands-on stuff to that you can actually do with people, not just ideas or whatever. But it's always nice when you can actually have resources in hand. Well, I'm going to get moving on our show. And we are going to start out with our wonderful videos of the week, and I guess we will just go right to Mr. Who? I don't know. Mr. Sill's not here today, so we're going to go with James.
All right. So, this video that I'm sharing today is interesting. I know that Mr. Rezak actually followed up with another link to a similar type video, but it was a longer version of the Hindenburg disaster. So it had some of the footage leading up to it, and this idea of not an idea, but it just showed the actual approach of flying over New York City and some of the excitement. and then trying to land, and then it just, I don't know, it just set a lot of context for me. I'd seen the footage of it exploding so many times, but I was actually able to put it into full context, which was interesting to see. And I love the idea of video, that historical events like this, you can just go back and live it for the first time, in my case, whenever you need to. So.
All right, well, I've got it up, so let's see what happens.
The ill-fated Hindenburg on her last flight sails over New York. These pictures, made from a Pathé News plane less than 4 hours before the tragedy, show the world's largest airship heading for Lakehurst, New Jersey. Over Newark's famous Auto Skyway, the airship was hailed by thousands who little dreamed it was their final glimpse of the Hindenburg. Inside the silver envelope are 16 separate gas bags, each filled with hydrogen, a highly inflammable gas.
Can I skip to the crash?
Yes.
You're such a dude.
Oh no, there it goes.
See the forward control cabin from which the ship is operated. Indicates the location of the passengers' quarters, in which many were carried to
I just hope that we continue to see more and more YouTube channels like this, where organizations that have this content are putting it up. It's such an invaluable resource. I mean, obviously I teach medieval history, so we're not going to see any of this original footage, but for U.S. history, this is just invaluable. Like, I didn't know the whole, like, dropping of the water 4 or 5 times in an attempt to, you know, rebalance the ship and stuff. Just, I learned so much this Sunday watching videos. It's so cool. So, but yeah, you don't have to put the whole thing. I mean, if you want to see how it ends, go ahead and watch the video. We'll put the link in the show notes. But, well, there it is. Never mind.
There you go. No, we'll pause right there. Watch the rest on online. Well, that's actually very cool. There are really so many awesome historical videos, and I think there's more and more being archived and coming up. I was actually wondering, you know, do you ever use archive.org?
No, I don't know if I have.
If you go to archive.org, I mean, there's lots of old commercials and videos and stuff from the 50s. You don't want to see my show notes, do you? But I'm finding more and more that that the history videos they're showing up on YouTube more than archive.org. I'm finding more and more that archive.org is kind of it's terrible to find. If you're looking for something specific, it takes a really long time, but YouTube is the place to go now when you're looking for something.
Yeah, the content's definitely getting more robust. There's a lot more out there, for sure.
Yeah.
And you're frozen, by the way.
Who?
Dan's frozen on my screen, by the way.
I am for the moment, but I will be unfrozen soon.
I've been talking to a lot of teachers and some IT folks and administrators lately about how really blocking YouTube is so 20th century now, because there's so much stuff out there. And when they find out, oh, there's tutorials and oh, there's all this material you can show students, and like that history teachers channel, James, that you showed me, someone found it during the break on Saturday when Sean and I were presenting in Modesto, and I knew because I recognized the songs when they were playing. I couldn't see their screen, but I was like, oh, I know what you just found. And people are like, they just want to use it, and really, this is more and more a justification of why it shouldn't be blocked anymore.
All right. Well, yeah, I agree. And 20th century, there was no, there was no YouTube in the 20th century.
What I mean when I say that it's so 20th century is that's so 12 years ago. That's so, are you serious? No? No one's with me? No? Okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You just busted my chops?
I'm with you. All right, so why don't we move on to your video there, since you're...
Me? Since I'm already talking?
Yeah.
You have the video ready? Is that what you're saying?
I kind of do. Prep this for us. What is this?
Okay, so there are these different demo slams of a Google tool, and I've seen some cute ones with Google goggles. This is one where they're using the Google Voice search on a mobile device to test if it still recognizes them saying Chubby Bunny. Have you ever played Chubby Bunny? Do you know the game? Yeah. You have to try to say Chubby Bunny with more and more marshmallows in your mouth?
Oh, that's right, yes.
Okay, so these guys are using the voice recognition of a Google search to judge the Chubby Bunny game. So these three dudes in their kitchen, I think it's like three brothers or friends or whatever, and they're in their kitchen, and they keep putting more marshmallows in to see, and then it, like 4 marshmallows on one kid, finally he can't say Chubby Bunny well enough, and it says like something else. So go ahead and hit it.
So here we go. Google Demo Slam, Chubby Bunny. Here we go.
Say Chubby Bunny into the speaker like this. Chubby Bunny. Then it would say working here. If it says that, then they get the point.
So they made it a game.
No. Okay, so I'll go first. Alright, let's start off with 2. Chubby Bunny.
Plus, I just love these kids. I think they're awesome.
Working. Yeah, that's great. That sounded good. Okay.
That sounded good.
Chubby Bunny. It's working, it's working.
I can't watch this without opening my mouth to put marshmallows You'd think these kids were a game, you know, like a sports event.
I'm on edge here.
Curtis Boise, you are out. Oh, I love that. That's an awesome tweet. I hope that kid ends up watching the show.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I'm sure he's
Isn't
watching.
that
Of course
so
he
cute?
is.
So there's all these really fun demo slams. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Google Goggles. They were taking pictures. Oh, you've seen the one where they rebuild the Mount Rushmore with actual guys' heads, faces in in like a mold thing. And they keep taking pictures of it with Google Goggles until it correctly identifies it, and they get to the point where it does. So that's another one. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if I'd seen them on this show or something else. So that's a fun one to look for as well. So yeah.
I miss some of the whimsical video, uploaded by real people just doing real things, and I mean you don't see that anymore. It's all this hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars production and all this stuff.
I love that it's
nice.
3 kids in their kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, look how this works. That's such a good example of as the quality of the speaking deteriorates, then the search isn't going to be able to work as well. So it was kind of funny that they made a game out of it. Cool. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you, Diane. I'm actually watching I'm watching an advertisement on Adam's video here. He's trying to get through it, so I can.
Oh, I could talk more.
That's all right. We're good. I got it.
Why don't we just show
Adam?
Jim's anyway. Oh no, you got it.
Yeah, no, Adam. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what your video is this week?
Sure. So I was looking for some really interesting videos. I had been talking about Khan Academy recently at some different events, and I was looking for videos that I thought were more engaging or different of sorts. And I found this one by Rocket Science, or this is it's Minute Physics. And James, I don't know if you've seen these guys, but
yeah, they're really good people.
It's
really
not
cool.
minute physics, right?
No, just Minute.
Okay, cool.
But that much I know. But they have some really funky stuff. This particular video is in a series of videos explaining how, and I don't remember what the meme is, but there's some milk vomiting superhero where basically the vomit of milk makes them fly up and like a rocket pack. So this is looking at the physics of that velocity of vomit, how much milk you'd have to spew out at what speed to become a superhero. So with that, just watch the insanity.
I might fly in a minute. That's
Yeah.
going to make me speed.
And here goes Rocket Science.
Physics tutorial on basic rocket science. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly announce that I'm now making these videos at the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics.
Oh, yeah.
So keep your eyes out for plenty of upcoming videos.
Dan screen's frozen.
Yeah, it's not doing anything for me, Dan.
Now, back to
Working for me.
Looks great for me.
Oh, here we go. A Y-shaped something.
We're not going to fight tonight. We're just let it play.
Okay, we're going to do a super simplified version of the basic dynamics of a rocket. We're going to start with a rocket. And the rocket, we're going to assume, has some fuel in it. And the whole rocket, together with the fuel, is going to have mass m. At some point, the rocket's going to ignite its engine, start ejecting fuel, and hopefully it will take off. And it will have a velocity, v, in the upward direction, and the exhaust will have a velocity, called the velocity of the exhaust, going down. Now, on top of that, because we're on Earth and not in the middle of outer space, the whole rocket and fuel system, everything together, is going to be affected by the force of gravity. So how do the dynamics of this system work? Well, you've probably all heard of F equals ma. Force is equal to mass times acceleration.
Right, so we can get our science lesson. Or I just like the fact that it's really well done, and it's really simple. You know, it has the same elements as a pencasted comm would do, or some of the other, flipped classroom content we've seen, but it has also that element of animation built in, and there's some live motion stuff that they do to build in also. So I just really like the way this looks and feels.
Yeah, and they're turning out new content all the time, maybe 1 or 2 videos a week. They have over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. They are really doing it right as a video creator on YouTube for educational content.
I gotta say, kids and teachers alike really respond well to the sort of common craft style, simple animation drawing kind of stuff. They think I think it's just respect for the amount of effort that must go into, especially when things are animated, doing all the steps that it takes to animate it correctly. But it's also, there's the illusion of, yeah, we all know that this is really just paper and pen. Like, the illusion's busted, and people love that. So I think it's a really useful tool. Kids are thinking in 2 ways when they're looking at it. They're like getting the content, and then they'll watch it again a few times because they'll want to think about, well, I could make videos like that, and think about the process of the video itself, which is fun.
Yeah, explanation videos are really taking off. Con maybe
no rocket pun intended.
No rocket. That's pretty good. But yeah, I like this. Obviously, it was nice and bright. It's colorful. There's a little bit of animation involved. If we can thank Con for anything, it's for at least starting down here while the rest of us have started moving, in other directions, like these guys.
I think one I'm going to make here is that it's content in terms of explanation and information is easy to get. That's why the teacher's role needs to shift to what you're going to do with that content. What experiences are you going to create for your students that are going to force them to think, force them to work, and force them to create? Because the content's there, the information's there, the explanation's there, but what are you going to do with that information? I think that's the new role of the teacher. We're not just content presenters anymore, which I love.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. It's we're movie makers in a way, and I love that. All right, my friends.
Facilitators of learning.
Yeah. Shall we show Jim's video just for fun, or
let's do it, because then we can talk about him. He's not here to defend himself.
All right, that's
totally
right.
Down.
So every week, I'll set it up. Every week on the EduNationCast, there's definitely a subpar video, right? So it's no, I'm kidding.
Oh, nice.
I don't even know what the video is. It's probably going to be a terrible setup.
It's just something to fill the cup, so.
Okay.
You're going to spew in
Ted's made some good videos every once in a while.
But this one, no.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
It's just a guy named Ted, and he's talking. It's not what you think.
I would totally do that if my name was Ted.
I'd
have my own TED Talks channel on YouTube.
I saw a TED Talk today that was actually how to give the perfect TED Talk. And if you haven't seen that one, definitely watch it. It's an actual TED Talk. And the guy, it is hysterical. This guy takes a cross-section of all the TED Talks, and he does his graph, and then he has like a build your own TED Talk, the website. It's pretty cool.
If I'm typing loud, it means I'm typing in how to find this video and add it to my watch later list.
All right.
I think I'm going to be making a TED Talks video of my teddy bear talking.
This one is TED Talk, Benjamin Zander, Classical Music with Shining Eyes, from Mr. Jim Sill. Here we go.
So Diane will tell us why he chose this.
When? After I've watched it, or just make stuff up?
Make stuff up.
He said something to fill the cup, so... What cup are we talking about?
Here we go.
He's thirsty.
1900s, they were sent down to find if there was any opportunity for selling shoes, and they wrote telegrams back to Manchester. And one of them wrote, "Situation hopeless, stop, they don't wear shoes." And the other one wrote, "Glorious opportunity, they don't have any shoes yet." Now there's a similar situation in the classical music world, because there are some people who think that classical music is dying. And there are some of us who think you ain't seen nothing yet. And rather than go into statistics and trends and tell you about all the orchestras that are closing and the record companies that are folding. I thought we should do an experiment tonight. An experiment. Actually, it's not really an experiment because I know the outcome. But it's like an experiment. Now, before we...
I think he chose it because this guy's smarmy, and Jim does a good smarmy.
One is I want to remind you of what a 7-year-old child sounds like when he plays the piano. Maybe you have this child at home. He sounds something like this.
It's like me on the ukulele.
That's much better than my 7-year-old child can play the piano, by the way.
I see some of you recognize this child. Now, if he practices for a year...
Yeah, I definitely think Jim would want us to play all 20 minutes, so just let it go.
Right. Let's just let it run.
Can we skip ahead to the guy doing something amazing?
Right, right. Can we just skip ahead to where he explodes?
That's going to be my favorite line from this show. Skip ahead.
You know, it's Benjamin Zander we're talking about here, guys.
I know. Benjamin Zander. And I'm totally putting this, I am on my Digo list for my teachers to watch.
Even though you haven't seen through to the end, he might. What if he does explode? You're so fired.
I am inspired to continue watching this at a later time. And and then when Jim comes back, he can tell us what inspired him so much.
Perfect.
To do this particular TED Talk. Oh, I'm in freezy mode again. Oh, well. All right. Thanks, Jim. We're going to catch you later.
Wherever you are.
And you can pick us up.
Alaska.
You can pick that up another time. So that's going to move us on.
We'll leave it at the door for you.
Yes, to our demo dance. And Adam, why don't you start us off with the Artistifier.
It looks like the Fartsifier.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to not make that mistake.
Oh, I wanted to definitely.
You can share your own screen, by the way.
He's doing it.
I am, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the video for the Academy Award-winning artist. Let's see over here real quick. I'm going to go to a YouTube clip, not an inappropriate one. Let's see. And we'll take Ken Robinson's little clip. Basically, it wants me to put my URL. You guys can hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I put a URL for Ken Robinson's YouTube clip in here, his TED Talk, the famous one. And I'm going to call it Ken 100 Years Ago. Do you hear the music or no?
Not yet. Not really.
Okay, this is all I hear in my ear. So, the artist. And all I have to do is click here to add a caption. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say TED Talk. Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
That's
and
nice.
Essentially, this is going, I just keep adding captions wherever I want. And it's playing classical music in my headphones, so I guess you can't really hear that. But I could add as many of these as you want, and then when you go play it back...
Take your headphones out for that part.
It's going to split it, don't worry about it. So, you'll see the...
silent film, Diane.
Exactly. You'll see the captions come up in a moment, hopefully. It's really cool.
I'm not seeing captions.
It should in a second.
Ah.
So there
you go.
So it instantly creates this, this cool old style video. You can actually save it back to YouTube. What I think is so cool about this, though, is the fact that you can, do a lot of good storytelling stuff with this. I think, teachers can make, first of all, you can put any of your own content, obviously, on YouTube and create a silent film almost instantaneously, which is it's great for so many different projects. But then even taking an explanatory video and having them do their own captions. Any of the videos we usually show on the show, you can really have them explain things really nicely, have them understand the concepts, and then produce something that even silent will, the student could be the narrator, so to speak, through the dictations. And skipping ahead to the explosions.
And Adam Mello just planned my lesson for Friday. Thank you, Adam.
Can you put explosions in?
You can put whatever you want in there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I really like that site a lot. And it's so funny because it's such a gimmick from the artist. Like this wouldn't have cropped up if we didn't have this, you know, this Academy Award-winning
I
film
guess
now.
I'm supposed to be aware of what that film was and stuff, but I'm not.
It was a silent film.
The
That was
artist
black
is
and
the
white. That's
one
all you need to know.
that won Best Picture.
Yeah, I may have heard of it, but I don't know what at all, anything about it.
It was a
Better artist.
silent musical, I think, right?
It didn't have
Silent
any,
musical.
It didn't have any words.
It's
Spoken.
Glee done in silent movie style.
That's right. In black and white.
Oh, I couldn't watch Glee silently. Anyways.
Yeah.
I could barely watch it with the sound on, so.
All right. That's cool. I really like, and obviously I love movies, and I did watch the Academy Awards last night, and I was not so hateful or hating on the Oscars as everybody I could see was. Man, I enjoyed it. So.
A friend of mine who is gay called it the gay Super Bowl. Okay, I was like, all right.
I missed it. I was
that?
flying back to. You can definitely say that. He's a friend of yours.
That's okay.
Yeah, I missed it. I wanted to watch it though.
I watched it on YouTube this morning.
When was it on? Was it on yesterday?
Last night. Yeah. I actually went out to check Slash Film. I read that blog every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, Oscars. Okay. I saw the winners, and then it showed me the clips from like J-Lo's little wardrobe malfunction, and it showed me the opening monologue and song.
Do we have to have one of those every couple of years on TV? Is that how that works?
Has anybody seen the documentary to go back to education, the Undefeated one? I haven't seen that yet.
Is it about wardrobe malfunctions or explosions?
It's about high school football, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So we're actually getting back to Glee, sort of.
I'm trying my best here.
Sort of.
And you're just like fighting it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since now I could go in a couple of different directions here with my share, but James, do you want to go ahead and share yours first?
Yeah, mine's really quick, but for me it might have been mind blowing. Oh, that's the invite button. Don't need to invite anybody. Screen share. Here we go. All right. So here we are on the YouTubes.
Right.
A great video sharing website, and I'm frequently. This is a SciShow, by the way, a great channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, this is Hank Green, one of the vlog brothers, and he talks about different science subjects. So today he released a video talking about obesity. Great video, and let's say I want to share it. So I click the share button right here, and I've never noticed this options button before. But if you click this options button, you can send somebody the HD link, or you can really quickly give them the time code. So I've always manually created my time codes by hitting the pound and then whatever with the number of minutes time equals 6 minutes or whatever. I didn't know that that's how people could do it the easy way, so I just wanted to share that just in case. Nobody else knew that, so I thought it was really cool.
No, I did not.
No, I'm going to try that right now because it wasn't. I was getting a frozen thing for this.
And I know that we were at the YouTube Teacher Studio, and one of the complaints about YouTube was that you couldn't automatically have the HD link, always the standard definition, and people wanted to share the HD link, so you can share just the high definition. If you're a teacher pencasting, you need those students to really see the details.
Yeah, I've noticed people starting to do that a lot more, and I'm wondering if that isn't something that they did start offering pretty recently. Although I do have to say, do you ever have trouble finding just the basic YouTube link for videos? When you have the short link, and then you have like the featured link, and you have the super featured link.
Right.
I have trouble finding that sometimes.
Yeah, I've just defaulted in considering the short link as the link, but I definitely know what you're talking about if it's just the link. And there's the little code, and I guess I'll show you really quickly. I'm sure most of you know this, but so videos all have a code, and so on YouTube, this little word here leading up to the end is the actual code of the video, and it's really easy if you hit the share button down here, and you see it. This right here is the code, and I'll turn off the HD.
Right.
And that's the code for any video. So if you do youtube.com/thatcode, it'll pull up any video that you're looking for.
Cool.
Now that is a helpful tip. Thank you, James. I have a quick YouTube tip. Can I say my YouTube tip?
Please do.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it works. And sometimes when I go off topic here and I try to do it and then it's not there anymore. Sometimes with YouTube and Google. So I had to just double check. But here, let me just show you real quick. Since we're in the YouTube, I got to share my screen. Here we go. Sharing screen. Here it is. All right. Watch this. Now, I just noticed this the other day because I have like 10 different YouTube accounts, and it becomes very difficult to go to this channel and then open that window. And if you sign out of one YouTube channel, it signs you out of everything. I have to open up different browsers. But I just noticed this the other day for the first time.
I'm watching carefully because this is going to help me a lot.
Are you watching this? Do you see
Yes.
this? Do you see this link right here?
No,
it says,
where are you at?
No, you're frozen, bro.
Your screen is frozen. I need this tip because I have so many YouTube accounts. And
It's the drop down from your username, and it says switch account on the top bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm right here. I'm not frozen. That button.
No,
that says
you don't see yourself frozen, but... Okay.
You are frozen, Dan. And
So you do the switch account?
Adam can see me.
I see you just fine, baby.
Switch account. The recording can see me. That's what's important. You drop down from your username in the right side of your YouTube when you're logged into YouTube.
Yeah.
And now you see switch account. And then you can toggle all of your accounts now within YouTube. And this has not been available for like ever.
I've had it on Google, but I haven't had it on YouTube before.
Yeah, no, I've had it on Google, and you can also sign into another account.
Oh, that's handy.
It is finally here. It has taken forever. You can now toggle in and out of your different YouTube accounts, and I probably don't have to use like 10 different browsers.
Yeah, I heart that. That's cool.
Goody. I had something to share this week. All right. Hey, did we get everyone?
I thought you had something else to share. No? Was that it?
I thought Adam had a share.
I did already. The artist.
He did the artist.
Oh, that was the demo.
Testifier.
Really good demo.
Okay. Yeah, so good, guys. Those are really great, good demos. We are going to move on to our roundtable, though. Since we are in the middle, we are talking about TED. I don't know if you are familiar with Eli Pariser, but he wrote a really good book, and you can actually check his research out. You can go to thefilterbubble.com, if I'm correct. Am I right on that, Adam?
Yes.
This is correct.
I'm not.
That was
Adam,
a link I sent you.
You are, yes.
You sent that one. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, thefilterbubble.com. Now what he talks about in his TED Talk, I'll do the quick summary. There's like 57 different markers for the companies. When you do a search on Google or Facebook, you could do there are 57 different markers for how they know who you are. So what he has discovered, basically, is that he did different searches for similar terms, and he was getting back different results based on who he was, and then he had his friends do searches for like Egypt, and he was getting news about Egypt that had to do with what was going on in Egypt last year, while his friend was getting something that had nothing to do with Egypt. So he highlights it really good in this TED Talk about how all of our personalized results on Google and Facebook are really filtering out information that's really important to us, such as now it's becoming this is a political year, so there's a lot of Republican, Democrat stuff going on. What you may have noticed if you ever go to your Facebook feed is that all of your depending on whether you lean left or whether you lean right, is that a lot of your ads and a lot of the links and the things that are shared on Facebook happen to be things that it knows you're going to like, right? So you may not get a lot of the opposing points of view on certain topics, which is pretty important if you think about trying to have a balanced, fair and balanced opinion about things. When you're logged into Google, you may get specific results about that are just you now. And they just turned on what? Search your world or whatever? Is that what it is?
Plus your world or
the personalized search, you mean?
So personalized search. So now you're getting searched. You're seeing all your friends, what they've searched for and what they're sharing on Google Plus as your top results. And of course, that's part of your bubble, right? Your friends are a part of your bubble. So, so we've got a new level here. And then the one thing I just wanted to kind of talk about, you know, when you're a history teacher, Mr. Sanders, it's been hard enough, I would imagine, to find good resources online and to find good images that, you know, you're looking for if you're doing a project. But how hard is it now when students are getting personalized results that may filter out the important stuff? How do we teach kids, and how do we start teaching them about the filter bubble? How do we?
Yeah.
I'll throw that out to you.
That's a great question. There's definitely two conversations here. There's my personal experience, frustration, and maybe even some satisfaction with searching for a term and getting what I'm looking for. I would say I'm more often frustrated that when I'm aware that I'm being filtered and I know that I'm looking for something different than it's giving me. But there's also the other side of what do we tell our students, because if I can't fully understand what I'm seeing and why I'm seeing it, and I'm somebody who watches hours of tech podcasts, reads, you know, oodles of educational blogs, and I still have a tough time trying to understand what I'm seeing, why I'm seeing it, and why people are doing it, Lord help me try to teach that to my students and what to teach them. So
Right.
Well, and I'm also a little concerned if all of my 7th and 8th graders, who are the only ones who are supposed to have Facebook, but I know that younger kids have it at my school, if they're all searching for highly inappropriate stuff and they're all basically networked to each other in this mode of search that Google or whatever they're keeping track of, right? They're all going to get the same crap, you know? It's like things are going viral in your search results because all the kids your age that you're connected to are looking at the same rubbish. And so that's a little bit concerning to me just because 7th and 8th grade is an age where kids look at a lot of stuff they're not, you know, quote unquote supposed to be looking at because they're at that age where curiosity is peaking. Well, what if, or it's starting, I don't know, I guess it never dies, right? But not peaking, but peaking, not peaking, right? So I'm a little concerned because kids that wouldn't have found certain things.
Right. I guess there's something like
their peers are looking for these things.
There are some things you can do to like turn off the bubble, but you can't turn it completely off because you can turn off, like I guess Google Now, which actually I thought was a decent idea. If you go to Google Now, you can turn off your personalized results, right, and see what the world is seeing. But however, or you can log out completely. But now Google will still know your IP address, so it's still going to know your location. It's still going to know what kind of computer you're using. So if you're using a Mac or a PC, it may make generalizations based off of, you know, the type of hardware you have or the type of phone that you have. You use an iPhone versus like, you know, a flip phone, or so. Well, I guess that can be surfing the net on a flip phone, but you know what I'm saying. But it's going to make generalizations about who you are and what your demographic is, and when you're doing searches and getting information. So it's such a really vast topic, and I mean, I'm wondering how do you approach that to kids when you're just trying to teach them to get a picture of Betsy Ross or something, and you have to say, no, that's not a picture of Betsy Ross. That's some sort of mashup that shouldn't be there.
Right.
Because you're being lied to, basically.
Well, and really quick, I see what they're trying to do, and it makes a little sense. So, like, say, for example, you're in some farming community, you look for fertilizer, or if you're in downtown San Francisco and you look for fertilizer, chances are you're looking for different types of fertilizer, and you want different types of results, and that will save you a few seconds. But there's a lot of downside to that. And I'll let that go.
And like, I like the idea of seeing what your friends have searched or have gone and found on a similar note, because like a lot of times I just go and ask my PLN to send me links to stuff anyway. So if I just do a search and I see that my other friends that I was going to ask anyway, you know, had these same results, that might be helpful to me. It might, you know, take out that middle step of asking people and making me look dumb like I don't know where anything is.
But it does make the world very small, and I think that like the other day when I was looking for stuff on teacher evaluations, you know, New York City released these teacher evaluations and everything, and when I searched it in Google, I'm getting the people in our circle. You know, I'm getting the Gary Stagers and the, you know, and I'm reading this stuff, and I'm like, look, I respect and I want to read these people's opinions, but I really want to see a non-biased, more general view of what's going on. And the stuff with the ad targeting scares the crap out of me, because I used to teach a class for my 7th grade kids, the message of the media. And, you know, we talked about how ads are targeting teenage girls and securities and yada, yada, yada. And now it's like I'll go on and I'll search something on Amazon, and then 5 minutes later on Google, it's popping up everywhere. And it's the next time I turn on the computer, it's telling me, oh, you could buy whatever, Blu-ray. If I was looking for like a Blu-ray movie for my kids, it'll be like the suggested search on everything. And I'm like, that's disturbing. Really
well, the other thing too is, as teachers, if we cover enough different material, a lot of the searching we do isn't really for us. Like that search was not on my own behalf. I was looking for stuff to help a kid with something, or, you know, come up with something, and now I'm getting all kinds of stuff that isn't really going to target me, because that wasn't for me that I was searching in the first place. So
and in terms of teaching kids, I think we have to start teaching kids pretty young. I mean, teaching kids how to search has always been part of curriculum, I think, since we've had the dawn of the internet, but I think it's teaching them how to be critical consumers is vitally important, especially now when they're going to be targeted for this stuff, and also be delivered content based on their you know, previous preferences or their circle. Even 6th grade. I mean, it's out there.
Right. Imagine you're like, well, I was thinking, you know, you brought something up about, like, I don't know if you did, but not you, but James, the Arab-Israeli conflict. Imagine you're teaching that, but your kids happen to be like in a highly Jewish area. You can imagine that the search results that they get are going to be completely off, totally off the chart. If you're trying to look for some sort of balanced approach to that. It's really fascinating, but I think it's almost, I hate to say, unfair when you want to get information and you have to teach kids basically that, you know, to question everything to the point of monotony. You know, I hope that some tools can come out there that make things a little bit easier for us as teachers.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're turning over our main source of information to a private company.
Right.
I mean, we are doing that. We're handing that over, and what they do with it, whether we like it or not, we can give feedback, but we're giving feedback to a corporate entity who's also accountable to shareholders. But they happen to also be the world's information source for a lot of people. Do they do a decent job most of the time? Yes, but at the end of the day, we're complaining to a private company, and we need to figure out, I think there needs to be an alternative method for this information. I don't know if I agree with it being in the hands of the Apples, the Facebooks, the Googles. Look at what we're doing.
Right. I do think that there needs to be some, like, if I don't like something, I want to be able to say I don't like it. You know, everything is like. What do you like? And Google's trying to give me what I like, and Facebook's trying to give me what I like. You know, and so many of the times I'm like, you know, I want to thumbs down this. I don't want to see this. But there's no option for that. You know, it's really not fair. I want them to know what I don't like. You know, so don't get it.
You like the dig model than the bury or...
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that... And I'm a positive person. I try to talk positively about education, whatever. It's not really about that. It's about trying to, in a lot of ways, is getting away some of the garbage, you know, the real garbage.
Well, you know, on the Filter Bubble website, I'm just putting it in our chat. Somebody else can throw it out there, or I can put it as a comment to our Hangout. There's this 10 things you can do, and it kind of suggests specifically. Nice product placement, by the way, Dan. We know what you like to eat. 10 ways to pop your filter bubble. But it's talking about specific methods you can use to kind of limit this data gathering happening about you. I think that's pretty cool. You know, I think there's a lot of people who are very interested in that. It's not important to me one way or the other, so it probably makes me a bad person or something. But I'm just going to add that link to the comments. That there's actually quite a number of comments to this Hangout right now, so that's fun.
So real quick, to end this up, what do you think is the earliest age you can start teaching kids about how they're being fed information about
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
However young you think they need to be, subtract a year or two, because For as long as I've been teaching 1st through 8th grade in a computer lab, I get kids who come in who tell me that they're using, Google to search for this, that, and the other thing, and I know that they're not being supervised, and I also know that they're not using strict search.
Right,
so,
right. Like you search
whatever
that
age
on Google?
You think, whatever age you think, you need to knock off a year or two. My students really start using Google in 3rd grade because they're going and getting some information, but I'm controlling that somewhat. But some of them, you can tell, are going home and looking up all kinds of stuff all the time.
Right. I suppose we could make some analogies to ourselves back in the day, but we don't have to. But yeah, no, I mean that's obvious, and well, it's curiosity. They're Pandora's box. But any final thoughts as we move on?
As we wind that one down. I will say, something you talked about before reminded me of, when you use goo.gl to make a shortened link and then it'll generate a QR code. One of the things I like about that is it has the little analytics that go along with it and the history of what browsers and platforms and even referrals have gone to that link. And I like that because I make a lot of sites for different events that I go to, and it helps me to know who the audience was at that event in terms of what their platform is or what browser they use, because sometimes somebody will have a question and they'll follow up with me later, and I'll say to them, well, I'll ask them, well, what platform are you using, what browser are you using? If I look at the analytics that relate to that event site, and almost everybody was using Mac with Safari, I can say, okay, a lot of the people seem to be using Mac with Safari, so here's what I would suggest. So it does give me the ability to kind of tailor it a little bit. I'd like to see if there could be more things, but then again, that would be more data gathering, and I don't think people would like that very much. But it's interesting to see, like I had 6 referrals that were t.co, so those were when someone put my link out on Twitter, and then someone clicked on it. They got that as a referral from Twitter, as opposed to the 120 or so that had gone there directly to that link because I'd given it out in the session that day. So I like that part, and when I show that to people, they're like, oh, that's cool. Not that you would use that information to do much, but it does inform where you're going with, I actually have had sessions where I'm teaching Google tools, and it's like all Windows, Internet Explorer, and I'm like, okay, I can tell you right now, the problems you're running into are because of what you're using, because you were in a lab that you had no choice. So it's just kind of interesting to see, and maybe even inform why people weren't so pleased with the experience because they were stuck using Windows with Internet Explorer.
Right.
And I
want doesn't work as well with Google Apps. Go on.
Kind of do a quick go back for the demo dance. If you're kind of curious of what's going out there and what processes are taking place to figure out who you are, a cool little extension on Chrome, which I definitely recommend using a modern browser like Chrome, called Gostrey. I don't know if it's available on other applications or other browsers, but let me pull it up here and show you. So what Gostrey does is it shows you what sites are trying to put onto your computer. So let's pull it up. And it just does a little pop-up in the window, and it says, hey, the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal is trying to install 12 cookies into your computer to keep track of all these different things. And it's kind of interesting to see what they're doing when you go to a website. It's like, oh my gosh, this random website is trying to install 4 different cookies onto my computer to keep track of the different ad companies that they have working for them. So I definitely recommend it if you're curious to see what's going on in the background of the websites you visit.
Yeah,
even if you just look into say you're about to clear the history of the cache or something on your computer, and you look at just how many specific sites have cookies on your computer already, and see things you don't recognize. Like there's sites that I use ancestry.co.uk, and I expect to see that because they save certain things and save my search history of their website and things like that. So I'm not surprised when I see that. I am surprised when I see a bunch of things I don't recognize and I don't know what they are. So.
All right, my friends, let's wrap it up. That will do it for us this week on the EduNationCast, show number 20. Thank you guys so much for all the wonderful shares and discussions. Just kind of looking ahead, just another great reminder, the iDig video show has arrived on EdReach. You should check that out. Episode number 2 will be appearing very shortly. Join Apple distinguished educator Jonathan First and his co-host James Crawford as they discuss the educational art, craft, and skill of making movies. You can see those on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, you can find us on Twitter and follow EdReach us on Twitter. But I want you guys to let us know where we can find you online. Miss Diane Main, where can we find you?
It's in my lower third. Dowbigin, Dowbiggin.
That's right. It's kind of redundant now to do that. But Mr. Bello didn't have his up today, so...
Sorry. So you can find me at Adam Bello or at EduTecher.
And edutecher.com, of course. And
Sure.
Mr. Sanders?
You can find me at the National Science Teacher Association's National Conference in Indy next week. Or no, not next week, next month. Or James T. Sanders on Twitter.
And that would be Indianapolis?
Yes.
No, it's the Indiana Jones.
It's going to be a good time. I will be there talking about YouTube education stuff and doing other Google tools. So if you want to learn more, hit me up.
Groovy.
Awesome. And I am D. Rizak, and of course, EdReach Us. You can follow EdReach Us on Twitter, and there's our Facebook page, or do a search for us on Google+.
If you can't find us, you're not looking.
That's right, at this point. Come on.
No matter how they're personalizing your results. If you type EduNationCast, we'll show up.
That's
Yeah,
right.
if you like any of us, you're bound to get hit over the head with it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks everyone for joining us. Join us again next week, same time, Mondays at 8:30 Central Time, 6:30 Pacific. Continue the conversation at edreach.us, and we will see you next week.
You're watching the EdReach Network.